Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, they're only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So, hey, Philip! Hey, number one in here today. Way to go, Philip. Hey, Steve! And Mad Philosopher that dwells in the halls of madness. That's always been one of my favorite screen names. Good day to you too, sir. And Wolverine's here, and Callum, and John, and Code, and Zayas, and Anbu. Yeah, I was going to, those of you that were with me yesterday know I was thinking about God of War today. But I'm going to put that off for today just because I just kind of really in the mood to chat with you guys. I miss that when we don't get to do it enough. And I know Free for All Friday is coming, but 2 out of the next 3 days chatting is just, it's fine with me. And Free for All Fridays are like, they're just chatting, but they're next level. Let's really release all our inner demons chatting. So it's special in that regard. And Jakeson, Stormstar, Curtis Hart. Have I been okay? I've been fine, other than I'm dealing right now with just the symptoms from having gotten my booster shot yesterday. And it's similar to, not quite as bad as, but similar to the reaction I had to the second shot. Excuse me, guys. Was just really feeling kind of fatigued. And as you can probably hear in my voice, my nose has been running all day. Like severe cold symptoms. But if it's like last time, it was gone by the end of today, the second day. Oh no. Morgan says, I think Susan censored me, and it's probably for the best, to be honest. Uh-oh. What happened, Morgan? Next level chatting, will we be using big words like photosynthesis? No, what? Photosynthesis? Is that Chinese food? Excuse me for this, guys. As I said, fucking second shot. Lute says, I want to talk about cocks. I mean, we all have cocks, and they're all hanging there all cock-like. Imagine seeing another person's cock while they're fighting you. He's doing a spin, and his cock's all... All the fights I've been in, I'm trying to remember because I could be wrong. I don't think I've been in a cocks out fight where either side had the swing out there. I mean, I was a professional wrestler for all those years, and of course, most of the guys were oiled up and wearing next to nothing. So if that's not gay enough for someone, I don't know what is. Hey, Curtis, do I support the Red Cross? I mean, how do you mean? Do I go out of my way to make donations? No, it's not something I really even think about. Do I support that they exist? Sure. Morgan said, I said my throat hurts, and then I made a joke about sucking the wieners. That's why you're my kind of girl, Morgan. Because a sore throat is always, I've made them myself many times, that having a sore throat means that I just haven't been using the proper lubricants and things along those lines. How tall am I, Troy? A little under 6 foot. Actually, apparently I'm shrinking because I went to I was always 5'11 and a half. Just didn't quite make 6 foot. And one of the last times I went to the doctor for a regular checkup, they said I was just a hair under 5'11. It's like, no, wait a second. I've been 5'11 and a half since I was 17. I'm not sure how this works. I started going the other way. I'm Benjamin buttoning it. Yeah. Sebastian says, hello, Curtis. So good that you're streaming. Just got a message from my university, and all studies are from home from now on. Oh, that sucks, Sebastian. Brax, actually, you got a class later today, don't you, bud? You can't hear me, he's gaming. Or no, he's watching a video. He's doing remote right now as well, but they're supposedly going back to live classes as far as they know next week. But they like to tell them stuff at the last second, so they may not. Yeah, you shrink as you get older. Ooh, that was like, how the how the fuck did I did? Do you know I did? I got dropped straight on my head so hard once in a wrestling match because the guy fucking botched the move that I actually shrunk a little bit. Because the doctor in the emergency room, because I had to go, I hate going to the hospital, but I had to go there because I couldn't move my neck or anything. He said I was lucky that I actually landed straight, like a lawn dart coming straight down. He said, because if I'd have been at an angle, I probably would have done some damage to vertebrae. As it was, I compressed them. And he said, if you measure yourself, he said, you'll see you shrank a little bit. And I said, well, fuck it. Let's measure, because I'm an idiot. I'm supposed to be laying there in bed in pain. And so he was game, and they had a thing on the wall where you could measure it. And again, I'd always been 5'11 and a half. And at that point, it said I was just a little under 5'11. Tom says, hey there, most handsome man ever. Well, it's about time somebody goddamn recognized. Thanks, Tom. John says, my overweight friend was throwing a fit, and I told him, calm your floppers, they're turbo tits. I call him turbo tits because every time he laughs, his man boobs flop. Jesus Christ. Yikes. Poppy says, with a cold, I can't control my vocal tone that well, so my voice cuts off on higher notes. Yeah, well, you guys know how just amateur fashion I like singing, just like a lot of times I'm singing at the beginning of the streams and stuff. And yep, you're right. My limited range is much more so. Yeah, that one stung, Morgan. It was over in New England somewhere I was wrestling. And I don't like going to the hospital to begin with, and I certainly don't like going to hospitals I don't know. So I started driving home, and as I was getting there, I was like, okay, I can't move anymore except like this. So it wasn't too safe driving. And I did stop at our hospital, went in the emergency room. By then, because of the wrestling, they knew me. So I walk in, and it was a slow night. There was nothing going on. And again, I used to get hurt all the time. So they knew who I was, and a couple of them did anyway. And the one nurse comes in and goes, what did you do to yourself this time? And I said, I got dropped on my head. I said, I can't move my neck. I said, I can only move my shoulders. She goes, oh my God, stop moving. Because I was showing her. I was like, but I'm demonstrating. She goes, stop moving. And she comes flying around, and she gets behind me, and she just grabs hold of my head like this. And she goes, now don't move. And she yells to somebody, she yelled to somebody there. She goes, get me a neck brace. I said, I just drove all the way from wherever I was in New England. I said, I don't need a neck brace. She goes, shut up and don't move. So they bring out a neck brace. I don't know if they brought out a child's one or what, but it wouldn't fit, and she was pissed. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? She goes, look at the size of his neck. Get another one. And so they got me a neck brace that fit, and that was a whole thing. When the doctor came in and looked, and I just compressed them. I had hit so hard. Hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. He says, have a cold one on me. I appreciate it. But yes, that one fucking hurt. That did sting. Tristan says, I'm 6'2". There was a kid I went to high school with. He went on to play D1 basketball. Was like 6'8". Nice. Can't even imagine what the world looks like from up at 6'8". My best friend is like 6'4" and a half. He played D3 basketball. Chrome says, little follow up on Microsoft buying Activision. Sony's stock lost $20 billion in its price, and it's still dropping post announcement. Whoa. And Bobby Kotick, Activision CEO, is probably gone after merger. That I heard about the Activision CEO. I didn't know about wow. I figured Sony would take a hit. I didn't think it would be that significant. Holy fuck. Edgar says, good to see you, pal. Wonder if ECW guys are more banged up than WWE guys. Knowing the business, Edgar, I would say it really varies, because just because ECW is more hardcore, I would say no. And the only reason why is a lot of the times, many times, the worst injuries you get are from silly shit and stuff that just inadvertently goes wrong. A lot of times the bigger stuff, you're taking so much care and there's so much focus on protecting one another. It seems like, to me anyway, just in my experiences in my career, you're more likely to get serious injuries over something simple. I told you guys, one of the most painful injuries I ever had was that when I tore those muscles loose in my lower back, and all I was doing was jumping out of the ring. I had done a run-in, and I slipped. stupid shit. Sink says, check Discord. I sent a joke too long for YouTube. Oh, okay. Don't. It's better if you find a way other than another whole. Hold on a second, guys. Another entire app to to get the jokes to me. Because I have everything set up just for the stream here. Hold on a second. Let me get this back up while that's loading. God damn it. Shut that down. Okay. Dragon says, I wasn't expecting so many blowouts during the wild card round. I don't think anybody was, Dragon. I bet on the Bills against the Patriots, but I want to bet on a minus 30. I'll tell you that. I didn't expect that. No, that's there were very few. Well, the Dallas Niners game was close. What else, guys? I mean, you're right. There weren't many. Wolverine says I'm 6'9". Did the Chris Hemsworth workout? Silly shit and botches is my guess. Yeah, Big Green. Yeah, a lot of times it's just the silliest stuff. And again, if you think about it, in some ways it does make sense. Because if you know you're doing something big and risky, you're working it all out as carefully as you can. And everybody's on the same page. And then in the course of a match, you're going a 20-minute match or whatever, it's easy to just have... It's still a heavily physical game. And it's easy to just have something simple go wrong. Ma says also the ECW guys are more banged up, not because of the work, but because of the drugs. Like I say, I was fortunate. I got to hang out with a lot of the ECW guys when they used to come to our gym to work out, and I don't have anything bad to say about any of them. Most all of them were very cool. A couple of them were not as friendly, but none of them were assholes. AZN says, finally paid off some debt. I'd love to go to Vegas. We're dying to go back to Vegas. Well, back. We haven't been in over 2 decades. There's always great pay-per-view boxing. There is. I want to see live heavyweights be part of the hype. Yeah, that would be fun, AZN. And we had promised Brax that at some point we would take a family trip out to Vegas because he's always wanted to see it too. And then, excuse me, he was getting older and older. It's like, well, there's no sense going now till he turns 21 because that's the gambling age out there. And of course, he'll be 22 here in just a few weeks. So at some point we want to go out there. Socialists Are Coming says, fun fact, there's an international group called the Trinity of Tedium, comprising of 3 towns, Bland, Australia, Boring, Oregon, told you I lived there, and Dull, Scotland, with our powers combined. I did actually live for a very short time in Boring, Oregon. We stayed with family of my ex-wife. Mr. Croissant says, hey, Curtis, I have a question. How would you go about making a decision you know would be best for you if it's financially risky? Like any other decision along those lines, pal, you do your best to sort out the pluses and the minuses. Do the best risk-reward calculation you possibly can. And if you decide to go forward, you go forward with the knowledge that it could work out financially poorly. But is that risk worth the potential reward? Philip says, if you're talking about bizarre, apparently when they do those penis enlargement surgeries, they take the extra length from the 3 inches that are inside your body. I've heard that too, Philip. Yeah, I'm just not. Listen, if I take those extra 3 inches and add it, of course, okay, I'm 150% longer. But even given that, nah, whoever it is just going to have to deal with what's there. I ain't dinking around with the reserves. Dragon says, I think the deathmatch guys take the most damage, mainly because of things like light tubes. I honestly don't consider that wrestling. Yeah, I mean, and if done right, even the light tubes, they are damaged. So they cut you up a little. Hurts, but it's not going to do any long term. In the indies, what was always kind of dangerous for us, especially, and not because of impact, was tables. But that's because a lot of times I would find when we're doing indie shows, the tables are something some of the crew cobbed together somewhere. And sometimes they would do stupid shit like use particle board. Problem is, particle board doesn't necessarily break clean in half. It will splinter and shatter, and you can get your lungs run through by a shard. So it all depends on the quality of what you're using too. Gibster says, speaking of injuries, I'm pretty sure I dislocated something in my shoulder before Christmas. Yikes. Did dumb thing and heard a pop. Then I popped it back in by moving like a baseball throw and went back to work. I'm a bit tough/dumb. That's entirely possible. Sounds like I have never done it myself. I've been right there for guys doing it, and that sounds like a dislocation. I told you guys about mine. I'm really paying. When I dislocated this thumb wrestling snooker, that I'm paying for. Now, this stays sore almost all the time now. But it was dislocated for like 4 days. My own stupid fault because, again, I don't like going to the doctor. And then I just happened to randomly get it to pop back in. Chrome says, checking my investing app, Sony's price dropped from 127 to 111. The market's still open for another hour and it shows no signs of recovery. I may want to buy some. Holy shit, yeah. That's a hit right there. You had to figure, again, just with that acquisition, it was going to take a hit. I did not think it would be that substantial. Social Sir Cummings says, fun fact, blah, blah, blah. Incandescent light bulbs have a vacuum inside. Hence, a horrible threat to someone is to put a bulb in their mouth and threaten to close it. Glass shards suctioned out, teeth, fractured jaws. Yay. Yikes. Oh, yeah, that's Maz. He said, worst table-related thing was at some indie show where they didn't gimmick the metal railing under the folding table. Yeah, you have to watch for that. I even had one time we did a table, and it wasn't metal, but it was a heavy plastic railing that went all the way around the table, and it didn't cut into me, but when we crashed through the table, because I got laid on the table, and my buddy Dave frog splashed me. Now, Dave was like 3 1/4. I was another 270, 600 pounds with force. Excuse me, guys. Coming through that table, and a lot of that plastic wrapped really tightly around my leg. Had it been metal, I would have been cut to shit. Because it wrapped so tight, it actually hurt. The pressure hurt. So yeah, if it were metal, that would be a stupid play. Morgan says, it's insane how much injuries to the hands can hurt. When I was 10, some dickhead kid attacked me with a baseball bat and aimed for my head. Jesus Christ. Put my hand up in defense, dislocated my thumb. I screamed. Yeah, it hurt when mine went, Morgan. I know it was just, I think I've told you guys, but it was stupid things. Jimmy was sending me back into the ropes, and as he did, he pushed me back. He went to grab my hand, and we just got tied up. I knew it was coming, but my thumb went like this, and it got pushed all the way back by, his chest coming into mine. And I heard it crack or pop or something. I couldn't tell what it was, and it hurt. But then I just, it started to swell, and I'm like, oh, man, I fucked something up in there. Excuse me. It was like that for several days. It's on the weekend, and like Thursday night or so, I'm still sitting at home and playing with it. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't want to have to go to the hospital. The swelling won't go down. It's still sore. And as I'm playing with it, it went crack. And I was like, oh, shit. Whatever was partially broken, I just tore off the rest of the way. But coming to find out and talking with the doctor later, it had been dislocated, and I popped it back in. Chrome says, oh, by the way, did you see Biden's Martin Luther King gaffe? That was just horrific. As somebody who lived through those times and has a lot of respect for Martin Luther King, to say something like that this fucking yazoo, and it's terrible what the cop did to him and everything, George Floyd. I completely agree. Obviously, I think everybody agrees. But to even reference those two people in the same breath, let alone say that George Floyd's death meant more to society or made a bigger impact on society than Martin Luther King Jr.'s? Are you fucking kidding? I mean, sometimes Biden makes you want to punch him in the face. And there is no case to be made. And I see people trying to defend him saying, well, look at the attention that what happened with George Floyd brought to. What changes did it make? I can go on forever listing the changes that were made because of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. and easily by extension, his death in being taken out by one of the scumbags who didn't want black people to be even acknowledged. And to say something like that, that actually really pissed me off. He's just such a moron. He gets caught. I don't think he's capable of clear, cogent thought anymore. And he gets caught up, and this happens all the time. He gets caught up in things, and he just wants to take it to extremes. He gets all hyperbolic with it. And I still say that's what happened in Afghanistan. Because everybody knows the way he went about pulling out those troops was absolutely fucking asinine. No one will ever make me believe that his top military advisors were not telling him, hey, listen, because they knew the Taliban will take that place over immediately. So, there's no way they advised him to just rip all the troops out with all those Americans and American sympathizers still there. He did it because Biden likes to think he's a tough guy. He always has. He's always tried to promote that. And he's like, this is going to end with me. Take him out. And that's what he did. That's why he's starting to piss me off. We've had 2 presidents in a row that piss me off with a lot of the shit they do. Chrome says, good point. Biden lived through King's death as well while fighting for segregation. Yeah, some people think he's trying to self-sabotage his party. I think that's giving him too much credit. That was really egregious. That was a horrible thing to say. With all the things that man accomplished and what he faced in his life. I mean, that Dr. King had to wake up every day knowing this could easily be his last day. Because it was so tragic when he was assassinated, but it was not a surprise to anybody. Because there were so many fucking psycho hillbillies throughout the nation that wanted to get to him. And to compare that to... Rosa says, I knew a guy that had an 11-inch penis and had to get it made smaller because he couldn't fit it in his pants. How the fuck do you even make a penis smaller? I have no idea. That was my question immediately, Rosa. Do they cut the tip off and no more glands for you? I have no idea. Maybe they stuff more up inside other than that extra 3 inches. As soon as I read that, I was wondering the same thing. It's like, how the fuck do you go about that exactly? Jake says, I've dislocated so many fingers playing baseball and broken many bones in football. I'm fucked if I ever get old. Yeah, Jake. Let me tell you, it does start to catch up with you. That's surprising. I've dislocated fingers, but a lot of times in wrestling, obviously. Wrestling's hard on the fingers. And a couple times, and I didn't play a lot of basketball, just in street pickup games of basketball. You're always going up for me. You're always going up for rebounds and stuff. And as everybody's reaching, you're always jamming your hands against somebody else's hand. Or the ball's coming down harder at an angle that you didn't think. And let's see. Chrome says, the Afghan thing is pretty obvious. He pushed the date back so it'd be his withdrawal and not Trump's. He destroyed Afghan out of spite and ego. He didn't care about the people. That was just horrific. That was terrible. I mean, when you're getting service members killed because you want to prove to the world that you're a tough guy and you're going to take care of business. It's like, yeah. Philip says, I recently saw a Robin Williams clip making a joke about how out of it Joe Biden is. Really? That was back in 2009. Only people would remember that clip when they voted. Yeah, really, Philip. I don't think I know that one. And you guys know me, I'm a huge Robin Williams nerd. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Hey, Roger. I will tell you this, bringing up Robin Williams is interesting. And I'm thinking it's looking more and more... I'm more and more sure I've gotten a ton of stuff written that I am going back out on stage. But what I'm thinking of doing is making a documentary style series for the channel here and calling it the tongue-in-cheek, The Road to Netflix, and how I'm going to go back into stand-up and take you all along with me and we'll follow this journey until I get my own Netflix special. And I was thinking of starting it off by, since I haven't been on stage in a few years doing stand-up, the best way would probably be to try out for America's Got Talent. And if I'm going to have some material that flops, you might as well fucking flop in front of tens of millions, not like 20 people in a bar somewhere. That's very likely coming up soon. Catherine says, why can't we go back to Obama was president, at least he wasn't a douchebag, and his wife was beautiful too. I see, Catherine, with me, I disagree with Obama a lot on policy, but as I've said over and over, I think Obama's a good dude. I think he did the best for what his belief structure is, and he certainly, at least, unlike the last two guys, at least he could, for better or worse, whether you agreed or not, explain his thought processes for the things that he did do or wanted to accomplish. And I would just take that right now, just somebody who could do that for us. When you get Netflix and we all get together and chill, Stormstar says. Sounds like fun to be asked. I'm looking forward to it, Krusty. I've gotten, well, I shouldn't say written. Well, yeah, I have material written. A lot of it's material I used to do. And I just updated it, freshened it up a little bit, because some of it's stuff I just really like. And a lot of new stuff I've written as well. And yeah, I'm still putting together all the pieces in my mind, but yeah, I think we'll be doing that. Yeah, Big Green, I hope so. I think it'll be a blast. Well, LPW, I got it. He says, can you bring it to UK as well? I'd love to. I've always wanted to go to the UK, mainly because of you guys. There's so many of you that are over there. We got to wait and see how things work. If the material does well, I got a couple open mics I'll bring it to. And if the material works well, then I have some connections still. I know people that own bars, clubs. I think I can get it set up, because what I'll do, and this is down the road, but what I'm figuring I'll do is I'll set up little comedy shows at local bars and clubs. I will pay out of pocket to comedian friends to come and fill out the night with me. And I won't charge the venue at all. Whatever the video makes when I post it to YouTube will be whatever compensation I get for it. I'm not worried about working at a profit on it. And then I might do a series of those. And that would be a fun way to get out there and be doing some more stand-up and fun content for the channel and everything. So I'm thinking seriously about it. Chicho Scare says, "Sup, old man? Door dashing right now, but want to say hi." Oh, I'm glad you did, pal. Glad you popped in. Oh, got any good food? I'm hungry already. Oh, we're going out though tonight. We're going to eat at a local pizza place here I really like, and that food. Well, you guys know that food makes me happy. Chrome says, fully disagree on that. Biden is just Obama 2.0. I disagree with that. He just doesn't have a charming smile like he did. Obama was an egotist who laughed about killing kids and spying on the public. Well, in fairness, Chrome, name me a president, or honestly, name me a path to the presidency one could take without having a huge ego. I've always said that. I fully believe that. I don't think there's an option there. No, I think Biden is far less effectual than Obama. Stormstar says, Curtis Candy, hardcore legend to anime nerd. Sounds like a Netflix hit to me. Well, that's what it would be if I do that whole, if I do the documentary style thing. That's what it'll incorporate a lot, is, the path from the early days of because I first went on the stand-up stage in 1984, I think. And the path I've taken from then to where I am now as an anime nerd. And yeah, it would be fun. I mean, I don't know how many episodes I could do per month, because it's a lot of recording and writing, and I have to fit it in with the other stuff. But it would be fun. Plus Ultra says, good afternoon all. Just stopped by to say hi before I unearthed my driveway from all the snow here in Watertown. Oh, that's right, you're up in Watertown. How much you guys get, Plus Ultra? Because we got I've told you guys this before. We've talked about Watertown. Watertown used to be one of the snow epicenters of the entire nation. It was not unusual for Watertown to be among the top few cities in the entire country for snowfall every winter. That's eased back some. I've told you guys how the weather patterns have changed for us, and a lot of the snow has moved south. But we got, when I was shoveling and snowblowing the other day, blowing snow, I think we got probably between 5 and 6 inches here, Plus Ultra. So I didn't even think to look how much you guys got up there. I'll bet, because the way the storm was set up, I'll bet you guys got blasted. Excuse me. AZN says, send all modern warfare and battlefield vets to the Eastern Front. We'll make Putin rage quit just like that. Biden is incompetent. Gamers will save us. There you go. But yeah, Watertown, and they still get a lot of snow. Don't get me wrong, but they used to really get buried because they're right where they can get all that lake effect off the Great Lakes. Vin says, "Hi, I'm from Watertown. Moved to North Carolina when I was 2, though. Does that still count? Still counts. Still counts." Yeah, that's where we wanted to move, was North Carolina. Let's see. I wish I had 5-6 inches, Lude. Wish I wasn't talking about the snow. Let's not talk about that. Z-Man says, Obama had more good rounds of golf than good policies he made. Actually, I think you'd say even more good rounds of one-on-one or pickup basketball. He looked like he was a pretty good pickup basketball player. I do like that when he was on Between Two Ferns, and Zach asked him, I forget exactly how he phrased it, but he said basically, will you be sad when you're not president ever? Fuck off, Jane. When you're not president anymore and everyone stops letting you win at basketball. That was pretty good. He says, I wish I could get 5 or 6 inches. Oh, you got about a foot or two plus ultra? Jesus Christ. That's Watertown. Holy shit. And like I say, they still get it bad now, but back in the day, that's a lot of times you'd see like those old photos of snowbanks piled up many times higher than the cars on the roads. That was Watertown. Dragon says, I broke my wrist when I was 10 because I tried to break my fall with one hand. Ooh, yeah, that's easy to do. Breaking falls is a way to get hurt. That's why first thing we teach guys in wrestling, don't fight a fall. Spread your body out, spread your body weight out as much as you can, and just relax. Because, yeah, that's common way to hurt yourself. Because it was a short fall, I didn't have time to switch positions to get my right hand in place. Yeah, that's what we teach guys, Dragon. The same thing is we try and teach it to be instinctive that, like you say, even if you take a short fall, get your hands clear. Don't try and brace yourself. Take it on your back and spread out your weight when you land. Jaggerback says, a lot of fun watching you guys react to DBZ Abridged videos. Well, thanks, pal. Oh, that was great times. That's what got me started into anime. That was the first anime I'd watched, was DBZ Abridged. And the gang had been bugging me for some time to watch it. And again, I still, to this day, I have no idea why I was hesitant, because I've always liked cartoons. I've always liked animation. But the gang kept telling me, no, you don't need to know anything about Dragon Ball to watch DBZ Abridged, which turned out to be entirely true. And that started the downward spiral. Jake saw a TikTok of a woman in Detroit saying she had to call off from work because of the ice. Then as she pans over the street, the cars are stuck in ice covering almost the entire tire. Jesus Christ. Oh. Yeah, gotta love the winter. Again, if it weren't for the grandkids being up here, my ass would not be in New York anymore. Tristan says, I also broke my wrist catching my fall. I had my 40-pound sousaphone on, and that hit my wrist after it broke. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a real common way to seriously injure wrists, is trying to break falls. Again, that's why we teach wrestlers, don't do it. Don't fight it. Can't have shit in Detroit, Tristan says. Stormstar says, I was always the opposite of sporty, and the one time I played football, soccer, I broke my leg. Lesson learned. Don't sports. I don't sports. Understandable. Let's see. Jump Scare says, my path to the presidency lacks any ego. I'm my own biggest hater, but I know that people deserve free anime. 80-85 and total pedo ban. Oh, yeah. We're with you on both counts. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, pedo's gone. Anime everywhere. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Josh, about the acquisition. We've been talking about that the last couple of days. Changes the whole landscape of gaming. Maz says, also seen that thing about how CM Punk tried to tell Booker T to pick up his trash in the locker room? Dude seems like a massive egomaniac. Really? I'm shocked, Miles, because Booker T is known to be quite a hooker. I mean, he'll fight you, and he'll kick your ass. Booker T's a badass. Wow. I'd never heard that story. I can't imagine that end well for Punk. Because like I say, Booker T will fuck you up. Ben Bong says, seems breaking wrists on falls is extremely common. It is. It genuinely is. Lamau, I did so too when I was about 10. Fell off a small cliff and broke 4 bones in my wrist. Oh. Yeah, because it's just, I mean, that impact, whether you're falling forward, backward, whatever, your wrist is not designed to be able to support that much shock and impact. I'm sorry, that much weight, shock, and upon impact. Yeah, it's very common. Again, that's why we teach that so early on. So you're going to take lots of falls, a lot of them unplanned. Don't fight them. Don't fight the fall. Excuse me. Excuse me. Morgan says, man, I've said so much questionable shit in my life that the moment I gain any notoriety, I'd be canceled. So I avoid it. Oh, Morgan, you guys know better than anybody how I say whatever's on my mind. My take on that is, if you want to cancel me, go the fuck ahead. Give it a go. Because I don't care. I mean, I don't care. Put it this way. Anybody that has reason to want to cancel me, I don't give a fuck what you think. And I feel bulletproof in the respect that the people that I do care about, you guys, the people that are with us here at the channel, at the Goosh, at the Discord, wherever it may be, I was supposed to be looking up that joke on the Discord. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. That's who I care about. And you guys aren't going to be on board with the cancellation, so I don't give a shit. Dragon says it was a jump and I was falling forwards, my left shoulder. It was only about a 4-foot drop. It happened so fast for me to react. That's what sucks, yeah. When you don't have time to think things through at all. Yeah. That's why we try and get it to be instinctive. Z-Man says, Kane will mess someone up. Real talk, his chokeslams must shake someone's whole back. Yeah, he's a big, powerful dude. He's not a known fighter in real life. I mean, I ain't fighting the guy. But I mean, he's not somebody that has a reputation of being the fighting sort. Again, I have no doubt he can handle himself. Hold on, I was supposed to have looked. He said he posted a joke, but I have no idea where. Oh wait, maybe it's here. Oh, it's from Sync. Yes. So a woman is cooking pea soup for her 3 sons. Only thing is, she accidentally used airsoft ammo instead of peas. A few hours after dinner is done, one of the boys comes downstairs. Mommy, I pissed a BB. The mother replies, well, that's odd. Second boy comes downstairs saying the same thing. Third one comes downstairs and says, Mom, guess what? Mom responds, let me guess, you pissed a BB. Boy goes, no, Mom, I was walking off and I shot the dog. I was supposed to be wanking off and shot the dog. Yeah, gotcha. I apologize for taking so long to remember that. You guys know that's my memory. I started Discord up and then completely forgot about it. Mr. Croissant says, not a wrist injury, but when I played basketball, I tore my ACL. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Well, you guys know what I did that hamstring last year, or 2 years ago, playing baseball. And if I don't think I'll be playing this season, but if I do, I'm thinking of making the switch to catcher because I have so little hamstring left. I don't want to push my luck there. And my knees, fortunately for me, will still hold up for all the squatting of catching. But I'm not going to play any sport and not play at 100%. So if I'm in the outfield or even at shortstop, I'm going to be running, pushing hard, trying to catch up with fly balls, cut off ground balls. Probably someplace better where I'm not stretching that hamstring all the time. C-Man says, thoughts on Brock Lesnar? Love him as a worker. Absolutely have nothing but respect for him. A lot of people don't particularly care for him because, he's only part-time, he's this, he's that. The guy works his fucking ass off when he's in a match, and he works his ass off to take care of and put over the people he's in there with. I have nothing but respect for Brock Lesnar. Okay, thanks, Tom, for being in while you could. Chrome, you're right. She says, wait, the hamstring thing is already 2 years? Wow, it doesn't feel that long since you did that yet. Well, it'll be 2 years this summer. It was 2020 that I was playing, yeah. Yeah, and this I got from a doctor. It wasn't a self-diagnosis. There's just so little material left there. And obviously, if I tear the rest of it off, I'm going to have a problem. Then you don't have a choice but surgery then. Excuse me. Stormshot says, CM Punk, Booker T. Now, can you bin that sucker? Booker T didn't just say that. Tell me he did not say it. Yeah, I'm just surprised to hear that. Because, again, Booker T's a fighter. Everybody knows he'll fight you. Milog says, I love Booker as a kid. Lost internet around the King Booker era. He, never fought, just avoided matches and stole belts by calling a challenge right after someone's already been flattened. Oink says, I managed to somehow injure my knee while doing squats yesterday. I don't really know how that happened. Knees are a bitch, Oink. Knees you can literally, and it's happened, injure your knee in your sleep. You don't have to have anything to speak of as far as weight. It's just move that knee joint the wrong way, and those tendons running down the sides, behind, they tear easily, they stretch easily, they flop over the bone easily. Knees are a pain right in the ass. It's such an important joint and such a delicate one as far as ability to have it injured. Excuse me, guys. Oh, he's yes. Johnny says Kane is known as a super safe worker. Absolutely, he always was. They ought him to pile drive Linda on Raw. That's trust. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Very, just a phenomenal worker. Excuse me. Leslie says, a man wakes from a coma. His wife changes out of her black clothes and irritated remarks, I really cannot depend on you in anything, can I? That's pretty good. I like that. Morgan says, bro, I have an exercise bike and I'm only 125 pounds and my knees hurt like a bitch when I'm on the thing for 5 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Knees, Morgan, they are a bitch. And some people just genetically, and this is just stuff I learned from all the injuries I've had over the years, just genetically, that ACLs, the MCLs, all those tendons are not as thick and as powerful as they should be. And like you say, even though you're small, and you don't need the thickness there, they can still be too small for your size. Knees are a bitch. And a good thing to, especially if you're ever going to get an opinion on it, Morgan, pay real close attention to where it hurts in the knee. Is it hurting on the side? Is it hurting right on the kneecap? Because that puts them on the path of trying to be able to help you. Have you tried wearing some sleeves while you use your bike or anything, Morgan? Though you don't even need the big knee pads, just those neoprene sleeves. They help a lot of people. But if you're like me anyway, either before putting them on, especially when you're going to exercise, it's good to either put like that light medical tape around your knee first and put the neoprene over it, or just powder your leg really heavy, because otherwise they get really, really sticky. Z-Man says, have you seen the mass WWE releases recently? I have. Seems like every week there's some fairly significant big names going out the door. I think, it's not just me, I mean, a lot of people are believing this. It kind of looks to me like they're just trying to get that bottom line as healthy as possible, because I think with Vince getting older, I really think they're looking on selling it. Oh, Ma says Booker just basically stared him down and laughed it off. Basically said, make me, bitch. That sounds like Booker. That I believe. Also, apparently, Paul London confirmed that Punk tried to be a locker room leader while people like Kane were around. That doesn't surprise me with the little bit I know about Punk, Maz. That doesn't. Booker is, again, he's known badass, but he's not a known hothead, so it doesn't surprise me that he would have just laughed it off. But I'll guarantee you Punk would not have pursued that fight. Well, he might be stupid enough to. I can almost guarantee you if he had pursued that fight, he'd gotten the shit kicked out of him. Like I say, Booker T is a real world badass. And we saw in CM Punk's MMA career that he is not. Morgan says, well, shit, I learned something new. It kind of hurts like right in the middle, basically kind of like an internal pain in the center. Oh, boy. There's so many things that can be, but I would try that, Morgan. Just get yourself a couple of sleeves and put them on while you're biking and just see if it helps, because depending on what it is, it holds everything in place. If you do have tendons that are moving at an angle they're not supposed to, or whatever the case may be, it will help to hold them in place. They're not super expensive either. I think even Walmart's usually have decent brand name ones. Dragon says, for a couple of years, Taker thought he damaged Hogan's neck with a tombstone. It took him a while to realize that Hogan has a very strained relationship with the truth. I hadn't heard that, but I don't find that surprising either, Dragon. Yes, Hulk Hogan definitely has a very strained relationship with the truth. That's well put. I never liked Hogan. We're talking as a wrestler here, and as a human being, I don't know the guy. But I never liked him. But I got to admit, I've had a little more respect for him recently. I didn't like him as a worker because he couldn't work. He was shitty. I mean, he was. He was a great personality, and he was a revolutionary personality in the business. But man, his work rate was the shits. The only reason I say I've eased off on that a little is I like the fact that he has taken ownership of that. He'll be right up front with you about it, that he wasn't the greatest worker. Hell, he got asked one time, I'm paraphrasing this. Somebody asked him who was the greater wrestler. It was, again, I'm paraphrasing the whole thing, him or Ric Flair, and he outwardly laughed, Hogan. They said he like chortled. He's like, me or Ric Flair. He goes, yeah, that's not close. Who was the greater wrestler? It's like even Hulk Hogan knew. It's like this guy could work a match with a cadaver and make it a 5-star match. What do you mean? Who was the greater wrestler? Your thoughts on the Montreal screw job? There was my thoughts on that, Z-Man. There was a lot of blame to go around. What Vince did was kind of shitty. Brett not being willing to drop the belt was kind of shitty, though, too. I know a lot of people don't like to call Brett out on that, but here's the thing. I was way into it at the time. I was watching wrestling regularly. Brett's heat was diminishing. Sorry, it happens. It made sense. I don't even like Shawn Michaels, and I love Bret Hart. But it made sense for the business to put the belt on Shawn. Saying that you don't want to drop a title because you're in your hometown or something like that, I believe that's chicken shit. I always said, and I always tried to live that because it's what I was taught and I believe in. You do what's best for the business first, especially when it comes to wins and losses. Nothing used to piss me off more than guys who get pissed because they have to lose. Now, and Miss Super Chat, thank you guys, I'll get it. If you're in... That changes. If you're in the WWE and it's going to affect your payday. Okay. Wolverine says Boulder versus the Blind Bandit, best wrestling match. I'm not familiar. If you're in the big time, and thank you guys for letting me know at the Super Chat, in the WWE, wherever you may be, any of the big organizations, sometimes a one-loss record does matter. Outside of that, and even then, it matters very lightly. If you look back, think about it. Rock, Dwayne Johnson's record in big matches was not good at all. And you don't get to be much of a bigger star than The Rock. It's all about telling the stories more than how the story concludes. The only thing that you can say is generally a title run will mean money. So outside of that, but guys in the indies showing up for the show and getting pissy because they have to lose the match when them losing the match is what tells the story that's been created the best would really piss me off. Oh, Morgan says, got to go adult now, but great talking to you. Great talking to you too, Morgan. Goosh indeed. And like I say, if you think of it, try those sleeves. Can't hurt. Chrome says, I'd suggest going to the doctor, but at least where I live, they won't see you until you get a COVID test. Really? No, we're not, at least where I am, we're not experiencing that yet, which can take several days. They wouldn't see my 3-year-old niece when she was really ill. Chrome, what are they doing to you guys up there? No, for those who don't know, Chrome's in Scotland. No, you can, that they have, as soon as you go into the doctor's office, that they leave it to you to be honest with them. You obviously have to wear a mask, and they'll ask you, right as you get there for your appointment, have you had any of these following symptoms? Have you been around anybody that's been diagnosed within the last, whatever, 10, 14 days, blah, blah, blah. And they rely on people to be honest, but they will certainly see you. Oh my gosh. Josh says, from what I heard, Brett told Sean that he's happy to work with him and is willing to do the job for him. And Sean said, thanks for that, but he wouldn't do the same for Brett. No, that's not what I heard at all, Josh. That may have happened at different points, but at the Montreal Screwjob, Brett doesn't make any bones about the fact that he did not want to drop the title to Sean in Canada. I mean, he's never even denied that. Dragon says, personally, I never got into the Ultimate Warrior either. He also couldn't work. Plus, he was a bit crazy. Jim Hellwig, yeah. And Hellwig was an asshole behind the scenes, too. He was known for, that whole screw job time where he wanted to hold Vince up for more pay. When they got to the pay-per-view, he wasn't going to go out. And I guess Hogan and Slaughter were going to kick the shit out of him. No, I never had any respect for Jim Hellwig. No. Agreed. I agree with you 100%. He was actually a worse worker than Hogan, which always amazed me that those guys, and it's to their credit, you got to give credit where it's due, that those two guys were able to put together a match as great as they did at WrestleMania. Their match at WrestleMania was really good. The psychology was brilliant. I mean, they're both limited in what they could do, but they made the most of it. But man, when you got them away from that match, there wasn't a lot of good there. Z-Man says, Taker offered to take the belt and drop it to Shawn, though not a bad alternative. This was a recent interview. That sounds like Taker. One thing's for sure with Mark Calloway, he was all about the business first. That's why he stayed in kayfabe for, 2.5 decades. No, I'd never heard that, but that wouldn't surprise me that Taker would come up with a solution like that. Leslie says, it's important to establish a good vocabulary. If I had known the difference between the words antidote and anecdote, one of my best friends would still be alive. Yikes. Rosa says, Curtis, what do you think about Sabaton? I'm not familiar. I'm personally a huge fan. The only song they made that I don't like is the song Shotgun, which has nothing to do with a shotgun. No, I'm not familiar with them. Rosa, Sabaton? I'm not familiar. Does he really, Johnny? He says, I love how Hogan pretends Andre didn't go up for him for the slam. He did too. I watched that. I mean, Andre could barely move at that point. He went up for him as best he could. I'd never heard that from Hogan. That's bullshit. Listen, Andre didn't have to put Hogan over at all. And what has been confirmed by a lot of people on the scene was Hogan was scared shitless, even as in tough a shape as Andre was, that Andre wasn't going to kick his ass out there. Because Andre didn't like Hogan, and everybody knew that. And they say, and others heard, Hogan kept going to Vince and saying, is the boss really okay with this? Is the boss cool with this? He was all concerned that he was going to get him out there and humiliate him. And I guess Vince just kept telling him, listen, all I can tell you is what Andre said. And he said he's good with it. And Andre was, again, even in his final days, and he knew his days were numbered, he was a true professional in the business and did what he needed to do. Z-Man says, so sad what happened with Chris Benoit. It is. It is. I mean, excuse me, guys. With all the cranial trauma I've had in my life, that's why I make it known to everybody around me, and I've said this to you guys, and I mean it sincerely, to watch out for certain things. And if you see certain things in my demeanor, feel free to point them out to me. If you guys, I've told you guys this before, if we're around each other, whether doing this or within the written word and comments and things like that, or me making the videos, if you see me acting significantly differently or I am an aggressive person, you guys know that, but being overly aggressive in cases where I don't need to be and stuff, point it out. Diddley says Brock Lesnar has a penis sword on his chest. You got to be a badass to wear that, though, when you think about it. Johnny says Sergeant Slaughter was a phenomenal working big man, super athletic for his size. I got to meet him too. Good guy too, very good guy. Philip says, oh, how's this for a bizarre? During the Napoleonic Wars, a French cavalry unit captured the Dutch fleet on a frozen lake. The French commander was named General de Winter. How's that for irony? That's perfect. I like that, Philip. Rosa says, you're not familiar with Sabaton? Sabaton reactions when the band is perfectly fine with reactions. They'll take that sweet monetization, though, and most of their songs are about history. I think that's very fair anyway. I never have a problem with an original creator taking monetization. It just, that's why I don't understand with the anime companies. A lot more people and a lot more companies are figuring that out with the advent of reaction videos. Hey, take the monetization. What the hell? Just increases your brand awareness. Z-Man says, I got to meet Rikishi, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Very cool. I never met any of them. That's very cool. No, I never got to meet any of those three. Is it really? Chrome says today is officially the 28th anniversary of our friend Jimmy. No shit. Another series with over 100 volumes like One Piece. You think it'll ever get voted in at the Patreon? No, I don't think so. Also, Skip Beat's 20th anniversary? Is it? Skip Beat? Yeah, I didn't know that. Good old Jimmy. Is Big Green? Big Green's here. He's right there. and we're calling him Jimmy. Big Green says, yeah, Brock's tattoo is kind of hockey. I gotta be honest. Oh, hokey? Yes, I agree. Yeah, what possesses you to get that tattoo, I wonder? Tsunami says, didn't Hogan lie and say he was scouted by the Cincinnati Reds or some shit? Really? I wouldn't put anything past him. I know Randy Savage actually played for the Reds. You know, before his baseball career, he was in the Reds organization. I still can't believe JBAL called himself a wrestling god. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Chrome. She says it's really not about money when it comes to anime companies. It's about what they see as protecting their brands. It's a difference in culture. I agree. But the thing that pissed me off about them and the way they handle things here, you're right, it's a cultural difference, but they say that on one hand, but then on the other hand, they aren't willing to recognize our cultural differences. In our culture, there are certain things you can do. I know they hate our fair use. I understand that. But you want to do business here, but you don't want to respect what we have as rules and regulations. That's where I've had issue with them. Because I agree with 100%. It is culturally different. But you're willingly wanting this market. You want this American market, but you also don't want to abide by American rules and regulations. Because, well, this isn't how we do it here. Well, then keep your shit over there, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. Going Nowhere says, Curtis, you more liberal or conservative? More conservative. I lean right, but that changes over time a lot. Going Nowhere, I lean right now because I don't like where the left is going. And when I say that, I don't mean just your typical run-of-the-mill liberal person. I mean the extreme left. And I always draw the parallel to, it wasn't that many years ago I considered myself leaning left because I didn't like where the Tea Party was going with the extremists on the right. So, there's a lot of extremism on both sides now. But I think the extremism on the right has a lot less chance of becoming laws and guidelines than does the extremism on the left. And my big concern now at my age is just what happens in this country for my kids and grandkids. And I think allowing the left to take command of that is going to offer them a bleak future. Leslie says, it turns out a major new study recently found that humans eat more bananas than monkeys. But I can't remember the last time I ate a monkey. All right, that's pretty good, Leslie. Gimster says, check next post. Okay. Oh, there it is right there. Recently I found from my granddad. Turns out I'm bigger than him in terms of muscles. Joked around with old foreman that I'm looking more like a gorilla. Big arms and big guts. I'm hungry for bananas. Nice. Chrome says, given it Skip Beat's 20th, I'm kind of praying for an anime return. We've had so many surprise revivals for this year. Urusei Yatsura, Tokyo Mew Mew, Bleach. Yeah. Yeah, Skip Beat's awesome. I enjoying it a lot. Mr. Croissant says, also it's been hinted at that the mass WWE releases are due to Vince wanting more homegrown talent. That could be. He's released wrestlers from the indies the most. We lost Ember Moon and got discount Tori Wilson. Could be, Mr. Croissant. I'm still leaning towards, I think he wants to sell it. And I just think he wants that bottom line looking as healthy as possible for a sale. Excuse me. Lick says, don't worry, hating Americans isn't a Japanese thing. It's normal for any non-American person. That's kind of understandable, too. Philip says, a big part of it is to the anime companies. The Western market is an afterthought. Japan remains their biggest market, even with the popularity of anime increasing in the West. Even to this day, is it, Philip? I'm surprised that it is to say just because of sheer numbers. I'm not doubting your word. I'm just saying that I'm surprised by that. Now, if you'd have said that 10 years ago even, wouldn't have surprised me at all. But with as big as anime has gotten and just the simple sheer numbers we have over here, I'm surprised that we haven't caught up for the portion of their market. Rosa says, if I may recommend a song, I'll say Soldier of Heaven. It's about White Friday. If you're not familiar with the event, the official video is a description of the event in the video description. Oh, cool. The only thing is, Rose, I don't do any music video reactions. The only music videos I've ever reacted to here have been Papa Franco's. STFU. It's one of the... Epic rap battles. Yeah, right. Yeah, true. But STFU is still one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Dragon says, I recently read the biography of the creator of Super Mario. Did you know that when he was a kid, people would laugh when he killed turtles with a hammer? Come on. That's terrible. You're not wrong about what it sounds like, Licks. She says Skip Beat sounds like the name of a shitty DDR ripoff you would find in an arcade in China. Well put. Mr. Croissant says, why is CM Punk worshipped like a god in wrestling? It's been pretty much implied that he was a dick to everyone in the locker room. It's something that I don't get. I was never a huge fan. Don't get me wrong. Again, I don't begrudge the guy anything. He works hard and he's an excellent worker, but I've never found anything likable about him. You know, in the ring or out of the ring, the things I know him out of the ring, the things I've seen him in the ring, he's never moved the needle for me. As a heel, he never made me hate him. As a face, he never made me like him. I'm very meh when it comes to Punk. Z-Man says, post 9 hours ago, Gunther shocked WWE slammed after Walter is given new name, the same as WW2 Nazi U-boat commander? Gunther shock. Hi, Rover. Something Stan says, you guys should watch AEW tonight. If you and your son are not familiar with their brand. Oh, sure, we know AEW. Brand tonight's show would be a good chance to get a feel of it. It's a stacked card. Yeah, well, of course, a lot of AEW's roster is ex-WWE guys now. And no, I think their organization is fine. They've got some issues just like WWE does, but they're fun to watch. Jake says, so is being a great storyteller what allows a wrestler to advance in their careers? Depends. It's a big component of it. You can't make a blanket statement because really you can find wrestlers that have gotten to the top or near the top with any one of the necessary attributes, you know, whether that be storytelling, in-ring work, gimmick in general, whatever the case may be. But being a good storyteller, if I'm running a promotion, that would probably be right up there at the top. But it all depends, you know. But yes, to answer your question, though, being a good storyteller, if you are, it's going to give you a much better chance of making it to the top. C-Man says, thoughts on people calling wrestling fake? Well, you know, the thing of it is, it's, especially now, calling it fake now as opposed to 20 years ago is kind of ridiculous because the days of kayfabe are gone. Excuse me. The business totally owns exactly what it is. So to call it fake nowadays is kind of just ridiculous. It's not fake. It's exactly what it purports to be, a combination of dramatic storytelling, and athleticism. So there's nothing fake about it. Now, 20 years ago, people would call it fake, and it's fake in the respect that obviously that everything, all the outcomes are predetermined, and everybody's working together to put on a real show. So if that's your definition, then they weren't wrong. Excuse me. Johnny says, people tried to convince me Punk is a better heel than DiBiase. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm with you on that, Johnny. Yeah, get way the fuck out of here. Ted DiBiase was a great heel. Ted DiBiase was an awesome worker all around. Really good. Pax says, character in wrestling matters. Don't believe me? Glenn Jacobs when he was fake Diesel versus Glenn Jacobs as Kane. I can give you an even better one that to prove your point, Pax. Glenn Jacobs as Kane versus Glenn Jacobs when he was Isaac Yankem DDS. Yeah, absolutely. Right, Big Green. Like Big Green says, everybody knows matches are predetermined at this point, and the business makes no bones about that. So to say it's fake now is kind of ridiculous. It's not fake. It's exactly what they purport it. What everybody purports it to be. Oh no, more. Chrome says also I'm seeing more idiots trying to cancel Urusei Yatsura before it's even out. They're searching through the manga for reasons and found the story about Ataru trying to force himself on Frosty. Oh, here we go. And the only thing I can say is I think we're seeing a little bit of a significant pushback against cancel culture. You're getting more and more people on the side of, okay, this has just gotten fucking out of hand. And I hope that trend continues. Sure. Diddley makes a good point. Even Kane with a mask as opposed to without one made a big difference. Truth. Yep. Roller. Wrestling is definitely real. My parents used to do it all the time when I was a kid. It made sense that they used the bed as the mattress, gave some cushioning, but the moaning was a little confusing. Oh, it's part of their gimmick. That's all. Z-Man says I more meant fake as far as physical wear and tear. Oh, anybody that questions the physical wear and tear is just an idiot. You guys know me. I'm a sports nut. I played every sport growing up. And professional athletes who have done more than one sport, including wrestling, will tell you that business beats the ever-loving shit out of your body. The very basic move in all of wrestling is the bump. And all a bump is going from a standing position to throwing yourself down on the mat on your back. That in its nature, or just in its design, hurts. And you're going to do that sometimes 30, 40 times a night. And by today's standards, 150 times a year. It used to be in the old days, it was 300 times a year. Those mats, and again, people have the wrong impression. They think they are like a mattress. They're not. I put together tons of rings. It's 2x12s, then a amateur wrestling style mat, maybe, not guaranteed, maybe a thin layer of foam, and then a canvas. That's what you're throwing yourself down on. It's not a forgiving fall, and you do it over and over and over, and that's just the basics. That's just the bump. Then you start to add in the stuff that the big moves and the big falls and taking the punches and the kicks, where if you work a little snug, which I like to do, land. They don't land with full force, obviously, but they land and they hurt. That's a lot of movement, Rosa. Most random statement of the stream. I went from an anarcho-socialist to a neo-monarchist to a classic liberal to unaffiliated in the span of 4 years. I'll give you that, Rosa. That's a lot of dancing around. That's good. Z-Man says, I can imagine the landing from a superplex. Yeah, it's a long way to come down, Z-Man. You just hope that you land, whoever you're working with, get you up and over. You hope you land flat and land center. Because obviously, physics will tell you, because those 2x12s are spread out, the closer you get to the center, the more they give a little with you anyway. So that's why you always want to try and take your biggest bumps in the center of the ring. You don't want to take something huge and land in a corner somewhere where there's no give at all. But yes, it shakes your body. It does. It shakes your body. And it's like, the thing of it is, it's repetitive. You're doing it over and over and over. Dragon says, my uncle recently got a job running a summer camp for people about to get molested. Jesus Christ. That's a good one, Dragon. That's terrible, but that's a good one. People about to get molested. Okay, that's pretty good. Timothy says it's a live action play with improv fighting. Yeah, that's accurate. You wouldn't hear people saying a telling of Romeo and Juliet is fake just to mock your enjoyment. Correct. I agree with that 100%, Timothy. Right. 100%. Lots of things in life are an act or portrayal, and that's one of them. But yes, if anybody tries to tell you that the business isn't absolutely physically brutal and unforgiving, they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Period. Pac says, Curtis, maybe you can answer this, but I don't know if WWE's ever done something as messed up as forcing wrestlers to continue wrestling immediately after Owen Hart died. His blood was still on the mat. I can't comment, Pax, because I don't want to be incorrect about something as sensitive as that. I don't know right after Owen Hart's death. I don't know what conversations took place. I don't know if workers didn't want the show to go on and were forced to or told to. It's entirely possible that happened. It's also entirely possible that because Owen Hart, he comes from the Hart family, one of the penultimate wrestling families of all time. Maybe people felt the best way to honor him was to continue the show. I don't know. I have no idea. It would suck if they were forced to do it anyway. It certainly would. But I just don't know what went on. Maz says, Nash had the best point about problems in modern wrestling. Shows are so long that you need a catheter to watch, and the show about sex and fighting is being written by nerds who never got laid. It's pretty good. Jake says, did you know that this is good. This is well put. Did you know Thor is fake? He can't actually breathe in space, and they had to do the scenes on Earth with a green screen. Blew my mind. That's perfectly put. Dragon says, I'd like to thank Anthony Jeselnik for those last two jokes, the king of dark one-liners. I haven't seen Anthony in ages. Yes, he is a king of dark one-liners. I like him. Well, I like dark humor. And I haven't, you mentioning his name, Dragon, I haven't watched him in some time, but I enjoy that guy. Z-Man says, who do you feel should have ended the Taker streak? I was surprised it was Lesnar, not overly pleased. Knowing now that it was Taker's choice, it's hard to fault it. I don't have a specific name, but for me, I think if I was booking it, you would go with respect, obviously, to Mark Calloway to discuss whether or not he wants to take the loss, first of all. But if it was going to end, I would have tried to push one of the young guys that you have big plans for. I would have had whoever. Maybe you wanted Kevin Owens to be a next big thing, or Seth Rollins to be a next big thing. It would have been someone like that. But that's just my way of looking at it. Gabe says, what do U.S. airstrikes and dark humor have in common? They're normally pointed towards Africa and the Middle East. Yikes. in the joking but true category. Kaiser says, Toei is odd. They have been slow to license Precure, but they take down episodes on YouTube and then have the 2 out of the 4 license locked from being viewed in the UK. Yeah, they've been odd with me, Kaiser. They used to file copyright strikes. I would file counterclaim. They wouldn't pursue it, and I would get the content back. And now recently, anyway, and who knows what it might be if I covered Toei content tomorrow, but as of recently, they've gotten smart because I'm on the radar of all the Japanese companies, and they just third-party claim them. Like we said, they take the monetization. It's like, I get to share the content with you guys. We get to enjoy it together, and they get paid, which to me makes the most sense. But for the last year or so, that's what they've been doing. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Z-Man says, did you watch the end of an era match? I wouldn't have been mad if it was Triple H to end the streak. The end of an era? I don't think so. I'm not sure what match that was, Z-Man. Triple H wouldn't be my choice. I could see you making that case, but it wouldn't be my choice just because he was too much of a veteran at that time anyway. His career was, getting close to its twilight. Bob Lube says, what does cancer and dark humor have in common? It's funny when kids get, I've heard that one. Chrome says, well, most of One Piece's 400 million volume sales and Demon Slayer's 150 million are from Japan itself. Really? With maybe 10 to 20% coming from overseas, so the home market is essential to them. No, that's true. But what I'm saying is, Chrome, what I'm surprised with is overall, just the totality of anime. And now, you can't really compare One Piece's 400 million because that's been going on for years. And I know that would be, that would dwarf sales. But if you just take the totality of anime sales over, let's say, the last 6-7 years, I'm surprised that the West wouldn't have a big hunk of that market. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I would be surprised, just because it's gotten so popular here, and we just have so many more numbers. Now, like you say, One Piece's the total percentage of their sales, that doesn't surprise me because One Piece, you're going back so far when, again, basically no one knew even what anime was over here. So that doesn't surprise me. I would just like to see what the numbers are recently. Casey Mag says, I might get hated for this. If anybody were going to end the streak, I would have chosen Randy Orton when he was on his Legend Killer gimmick. No reason for hate on that, Casey. That's not a bad call. Again, the only reason I will admit I would like Orton better than Hunter. But again, for me, if I had my pick, it would have been one of the younger guys. And again, Orton's been around and was at that time been around for a long time. But it would work perfect, yes. With the Legend Killer, that would be the ultimate Legend kill. You're not wrong. Let's see. Chrome says it's still 10 to 20%. Really? I'm surprised. Demon Slayer is less than a decade old, right? People overestimate how big anime is in the West compared to Japan. Demon Slayer's film was a good example. I am surprised by that. Because again, it's not that, I do agree with you. There's no question that it's a lot bigger per capita in Japan. I was just thinking because our numbers are so much larger, our total numbers, that it would only take a small percentage of interest here to equal totality there. I am surprised. Dustin says, I'm not a big fan of Natalia. You? No, I actually am, Dustin. I like her. Well, let me qualify that. Do I think like she should be at the top of a card? No. I think there are other women doing things that are more interesting and doing things that are more different. But as far as do I like her, I love her. I think she's a phenomenal worker. I think she works her ass off, and she's been doing it for a long time. I have a lot of respect for her. Gimster says, check next post. Okay. I told a coworker from Newfoundland about the winters we get here, and turns out I scared them. Anyone who knows about Newfies know that it is impressive for us to scare them with winter weather. It's just amazing to me how you guys still just get hammered like that up there. For those who, who don't know, of course, Gimster's in Canada. All right, guys. Well, I got to go. Thank you for this stream. This is a blast. And I apologize for those I told that I was going to do God of War today. I had every intention, but again, sometimes this is why. Sometimes I just miss doing this. I like just sitting and chatting. And the gaming's a blast. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I don't get the heavy interaction with you guys like I do doing this. So I just really wanted to have a fun time hanging out. And so tomorrow, as long as I get to stream tomorrow, we'll game. And then Friday, of course, will be Free for All Friday. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for making my day. This is a lot of fun. I had a blast. So I'm happy. This was a midweek, granted, not the best day, but a midweek live stream. My favorite female worker is Serena Deeb. Serena Deep. I'm not sure who that is, Dragon. I'll have to look that name up. Like I say, Gibbs just says goose, 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 goodbye. Indeed. This, again, it's midweek, but when you figure we're going to, as I said, we're going to game today, but I just was missing you guys so much that we did this stream. This is a special sentiment in the sticky stuff today. I don't know how you go about determining that special sentiment. I'll leave that for you guys to get in there, play around that sticky stuff, and figure it out. Pumpu, pumpu. Sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for everybody, because we'll bang, okay? Flashly like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and the sentiment is always badass in this, goose, 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 goose. Ah, goose. Ha.